All right, welcome back to another episode of the GD Sports Network. I am chiming in right now on the WNBA CBA. So for those of you who do not know, the WNBA stands for the Women's National Basketball Association, and the CBA stands for the Collective Bargaining Agreement. Oh my goodness. Long story short, because I'm going to put it as short as I can, I am not 100% into the front office, obviously, nor am I part of the WNBA PA, meaning the Players Association, WNBPA, Women's National Basketball Players Association. What I will say is that I fully am on the side of the athlete. I'll say that right now. I'm biased. Okay? I am biased. So if you have any comments, get down in the comment section. Let me know. I'm always willing to have the quote-unquote debate, or at least the conversation, to go back and forth. And maybe I become more educated through the process, and maybe you do as well. But I also know, I will preface all of my comments by saying, it is often said, it is often said that it's easy to say what you say when you are not the ones writing the check. So please understand that I understand that up front. Okay, I am totally taking that into consideration. Now, that being said, as we see on the screen, the league's latest proposal is a max salary in 26 would be guaranteed $1 million base. That's the max salary. Current max is about 240, maybe ish, somewhere in there. So a nice jump, but it says projected revenue sharing would push earnings for max players to more than 1.2. That would imply that the revenue sharing, you could only gain another $200,000. So take that into consideration. Now, it also says the 26 average salary projected over $500,000 minimum. Okay, again, average, right? And the minimum salary projected to be over $225,000. Now, with the minimum jumping up to almost currently what the maximum is, you could obviously say that for that lower tier player that might have been getting $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, that's a nice jump. That's a nice jump. Now, moving forward, it says the salary cap would increase to $5 million in 1 year and be tied directly to revenue growth in each year of the CBA. So that is to say that the salary cap will jump according to what the league is making. Now, that one, I'm not going to say that I have a problem with that. No one is ignorant. If the situation is great and you're making money, then yes, we'll share it with you. But if we happen to have a down year, whether it's COVID or anything else, and we're not making any money, then we can't give you what we don't have. I mean, I think that's common sense. I think that could be written into any contract and be understood. That being said, I'm just going to jump right in. In my opinion, I'm not going to say this is not enough, but what I will say is look deeper into it. Okay? And what I mean by that is, sounds kind of good. I mean, they're increasing their pay. They're, saying there's a minimum. It's jumping up 4 times, this, that, and the other. You can say all those things. I understand. But at the same time, the collective bargaining agreement, normally in a situation, now it is bargaining agreement. So it is owners say this, players say that. You go back and forth. I understand. But usually in a situation, you already have a baseline. Someone may want more. Say you want $1 million more. But the bargaining part is that the owner is going to say, well, we're not going to quite make $1 million. Maybe you'll get $750,000. That's the negotiation. The negotiation is usually not that we'll give you this if we take away this. Because once you take away something, you're already kind of saying to me that you're not really giving me anything. So if you tell me, I'm going to give you 50% off of this $2 item, but before I give you 50% off, I'm going to raise it to $4, I'm still paying $2 for it, right? So it doesn't make sense to take before you give or take after you give if it's going to equal out. Now, please understand and follow me that what I'm saying does not equal out, because if your income goes up 4 times, you got extra money to spend. But the point is, don't give me more just to take something from me, okay? What the WNBA is also proposing is that the league has removed housing from proposals submitted to the WNBA Players Association. Now, that is including most recently, several league sources told Front Office Sports. Okay? So, what that is saying is that right now, since 2016, the league has been providing housing for the young ladies when they get to their teams. Well, why is that important? If you actually watch the WNBA, I don't even think it's the same as the NBA. And I say that because I don't know that I see as much movement in the NBA throughout the season as I do in the WNBA. You can be on a team one day and cut 3 days later. Usually, in my opinion, I believe that the men have a little more stability. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I am not used to seeing the men consistently moving between teams. Bree Hall last year started with the Indiana Fever, went to Golden State, left Golden State, I want to say was gone for a while, went back to Indiana, went back to Golden State, and ended up in Indiana. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know if she moved that much, but I know she was all over the place, okay? With a portion of that time just not being on a team at all. So it wasn't like she was just going back and forth to teams. At a point, she wasn't on a team at all. So what I'm saying is, how do you expect these young ladies to maintain housing in these different areas when they're popping around? Clearly, we're saying temporary housing. I understand that. But again, as a corporate situation, there are many corporate companies that have housing for their employees when they travel to and from certain hubs. So would it kill the league to have an extended stay somewhere in the 13 cities that they have teams? Of course not. But again, you want to nickel and dime the players. So that's just something else that they're doing, is that they're trying to play hardball with, if you want more of this, then you need to give more of that. And it just doesn't fully make sense, simply because the league is in the best position it's ever been in. Why would you want to risk boycotting, or people going on strike, or people going to Project B and just leaving altogether? Why would you want to create that situation over pennies? Because in this situation, that's pennies. To have probably what would be considered a corporate write-off, so you wouldn't really lose the money anyway, a write-off to just house the players when they get to and from some of these teams. People who are pretty much solidified in their area, they probably have housing. I don't think that they really care about that. They probably have housing. But again, the league is that much shorter, so it's not like the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball, where you're there for half the year or most of the year, or maybe you just move your family to your city altogether. They only play 40 games. So they're only there 3 months or something. You don't really want to invest in that if that's not where you're from. Again, considering how often they move throughout the year. If you're not fully solidified on that team, you can find yourself anywhere throughout the year, including off everybody's roster. So just food for thought on how you would feel if that was you. Again, we know we're talking about athletes, but think about yourself as a person. Would you want your company saying, well, we want you to go here and go there and go here and go there, but by the way, you need to pay for it? Everybody who has any level of position within a company knows they have an expense account. They know that if they do pay something up front, they have an expense account, they write it up, and they get it reimbursed. You don't just spend your own money to move around for this company. Usually, you don't do that, okay? So, that's, again, food for thought. But the other thing, and probably more importantly, in this collective bargaining agreement, the other thing that is, it's almost like they're trying to sabotage themselves. It really is. I don't understand it. I've been saying this from day one. If it really comes down to Engelbert, or whatever her name is as far as the commissioner, then maybe she does need to be fired. But the other thing that's being proposed is that they want to extend the season. Now, you just heard me say they only play 40 games, this, that, and the other. So now you can't say, well, Brent, if they're trying to give them more time, why are you complaining? Good question. The reason I'm complaining is because they're trying to start the season earlier, not extend it out. They want to start it earlier. Again, I won't say I'm only speaking to WNBA fans because I don't mind educating anything. Please drop down in the comments with any questions you might have. And I'm willing to go back and forth. I promise you I am. But by starting it earlier, if you are currently a fan of the WNBA, you already understand that it is drastically, almost dangerously starting so soon after the NCAA tournament that it's sick. I think the ladies get like a week off or something, then you have the draft and you got 2 weeks, then you're in training camp, and then preseason is starting like a week or two later. I mean, that is totally disrespectful. When it comes to the NBA, you end your season, college, you get almost an entire off season. You get drafted, you get to your team, you got months before anything starts. In this situation, they have weeks, and that's after March Madness. That's after the completion of the championship game of the tournament. Well, what they're proposing is to actually start camp like mid-March. So March Madness isn't even over yet, and they're wanting to start camp. Well, what are you asking the ladies to do? Quit teams in the midst of a March Madness championship run to say I got to go over here and get with my team? Because the only ones that would have to do that would be lottery picks, because they almost know they're going to make their team. So they would have to get there and start getting acclimated to the new team. Because anyone else, like I said, you can go second round and still not even make the team. That's how crazy the WNBA is. But why would you push it back and start sooner? It doesn't make any sense. But you know what they're probably thinking? Well, Project B is trying to hinder us. So if we start sooner, the women playing in Project B would have to leave Project B to get back to us. And we would mess up their championship game. But you're not thinking about your rookies coming in from college. And if I'm being honest, I think even that thought process would be stupid, because you're basically saying we're going to pay you less than Project B, because Project B salary is like $2 million. It's almost double. So we're going to pay you less than Project B, but we're going to make it harder for you to get to us. Now, if you've made a nice run through the tournament, you're probably around 40 games into the season. 38, 30, high 38, whatever, the high 30s. But let's just say 40 for all intents and purposes. Then you come into the WNBA. Their season last year was 43 games because they had expanded. I'm sure it may go up from there because they've expanded again with 2 more teams starting this year. So let's say now they're around 45, 50 games. You're asking young ladies to play a 90-game season when the NBA doesn't even do that. But that's what you would be expecting of all of your incoming rookies, 40 games into the tournament, and then 50 games of a WNBA season, and that's before you even hit the playoffs. You're going to be killing these young ladies' bodies. You're going to be killing. Now, I'm talking about the incoming rookies. That's what I'm talking about, the incoming rookies. You're going to be killing them. So guess what? As an incoming rookie that's a top-tier player that I know my worth, guess what? Project B might offer me a contract as well. And if I can graduate college, finish my career, and then relax like NBA players do, and then just have that off season and hoop however I want to hoop, then I can wait for Project B to start. That sounds a little bit more attractive to me than coming right out, hitting the ground, tearing my body up, risking injury. Usually at the end of the year, people are banged up anyway, and that's in any sport. So what's different with these young ladies coming out of college? They already don't get a break, and now you want to take the couple of weeks they have away and tell them we need you before your tournament is even over? Come on, WNBA. You can't possibly think that's the answer. I really don't understand why they are so hell-bent on destroying their own league. But if I had a choice between let me finish my college career and relax and wait until Plan B, Project B starts and get $2 million after resting my body, or being a crash test dummy for $1 million And bear in mind now that $1 million is only guaranteed max salary. I don't know that a rookie coming in is going to get that max salary. So let's also take that into consideration. Someone like Caitlin Clark, would she have deserved it? Of course, but I'm not sure how they're going to structure that. So I don't know that rookies coming out would be getting that. So you want me to risk my body for the league minimum when I could go to Project B and get $1 million even as a rookie coming in, since the max over there is over $2 million? I mean, do you see what I'm saying? So I think they're not thinking this through. They're being petty on one end to say, if we're going to pay you more, we're going to take away your housing. Then they want to compromise their health by saying we're going to start even sooner. If you want to expand the season, hey, I respect that. But why not push the start of the season back a month? Allow these young ladies to breathe coming off of, their NCAA tournament. Come in, relax, reinvigorate themselves, come into camp, get ready to play, and then go out. And then extend the season if that's what you want. You want to have a 60-game season? Cool. Go for it. I understand revenue. I understand you make more money if you play more games. I get all of that. But if you're going to play more games, why would you start it during March Madness? That makes 0 sense, WNBA. Please rethink what you're doing. It makes 0 sense. It just does. And you may run off some people. I know I'm not talking about any of the veterans with this time frame, but I am saying that even those who would play for Project B, why do you think they're willing to leave Project B to accommodate you when Project B is playing them more? They're making more money there. So if I'm pushed to make a decision, even though the WNBA is on American soil, and that does matter, why are you bullying your players to say if you want to stay on American soil, you can't do anything else? If you cared that much about them as a commodity, then you would pay them what they're asking. Just pay them what they're asking and you wouldn't have this problem. But you don't want to do that because you want to keep the majority of the profits for yourself, which again, I am not the one writing the check. But I just figure, hey, if my league is possibly going to go away if I don't treat these players right, maybe I take 50% of something instead of 100% of nothing. Or I'm going to become the secondary league because the number 1 picks are going to go to Project B, and then I'll have that second tier of players coming into the WNBA. Now, you could do that and get away with it because there's a lot of talent that you ladies never get because you only had 144 spots before last year. So I'm sure you could survive that way, but if you want the top players, how about you work with them? But please, man, get down in that comment section. Let's talk about it because I'm just very curious as to where this is going to go, man. But this is GD Sports Network. I'm going to sign off right now, but please like the video, subscribe, share this video with someone, and more importantly, get in that comment section because I want to have the conversation with you. GD Sports Network, and I'm signing out.